Hello, it's great to be with you again. I'm Babs, and it's good to be here to lean into wellness as we build a better life. We've had something very interesting happening in our country in aviation. Very recently, a 737 on a flight had a window blowout and part of the fuselage and the window fell out of the plane. That, of course, was terrifying for those on the flight and was potentially deadly. Fortunately, there was no one on the aisle next to the emergency door, and they were able to secure the airplane and relatively safely land. This is such an interesting story because you can imagine the air pressure that was going on there that we take for granted when we are safely on an airplane. And in fact, one person's shirt was completely ripped off their body from the differential in the air pressure and being sucked out. I think sometimes this can be compared to our window of tolerance for mental health. Now, there are actually stress engineers, these scientific engineers that are in charge of aviation safety, can tell us what materials should be used on an airplane and how long those materials will last. In other words, how much stress can that airplane part take? And apparently something happened on that flight where it did not go well and something was overstressed. So I want us to remember that we also have a window of tolerance. We also have stress tolerance and a window where we are comfortable, where we feel like we are really operating well and we feel pretty good. Dan Siegel, who is a doctor and is a great psychologist, has created this window of tolerance concept to help us more fully understand what a window of tolerance is and what it should look like in our lives. Now, something that we need to remember about a window of tolerance is everybody's window is different. Your window of tolerance is unique to you. My window of tolerance is unique to me. And that's important because we don't want to immediately be self-critical that I can't handle this much stress, so-and-so can and I can't. Or I'm so much more calm than other people. Or I'm less likely to get depressed than others. That's actually great. And we want to give grace to other people as well for whatever their window is. There are ways to improve your window of tolerance. Now, we're looking at our window of tolerance, and let's say it's about like this. Above our window of tolerance is where we are anxious and where we really are having a hard time. I'm not talking about anxious like right here where we're still feeling pretty good. I'm talking about out of our window of tolerance. This is very important to remember because our window of tolerance is the area and space where we feel comfortable and where we can function at our best. So we want to figure out what are the tools that I need to have to keep my stress level within my window of tolerance. At the bottom of our window of tolerance, underneath it, is where we are hypo-aroused. That means below normal arousal. That's a depressed state. That's where I'm shut down. That's where I may only want to isolate. Of course, in hyperarousal, we may also want to isolate. But these two areas are not helpful for us to stay in. Those are outside of our window of comfort and tolerance. So down here, let's say we've had trauma in our lives. There are some people who shut down with traumatic response. They freeze, they stop, they're not going anymore. Their parasympathetic nervous system is activated or is low, and this is a very depressive state. We need to find ways to help us re-engage, like exercise, like any kind of movement in exercise will help us. We want to make sure that we're taking care of all of our physical health areas because that will bring our depressive state up, our hypoarousal up. with our sympathetic nervous system, where we're very activated with our hyperarousal, we need to remember that we find ways to bring that down into our window. That also might be movement. We know, again, movement is medicine. If we engage in healthy movement, it helps bring our thinking back online so that we don't get out into our primitive brain thinking that doesn't let us make reasoned decisions and help us move in a more healthy area of thought. It is very important that when stress and trauma shrink our window, that we begin to understand that that also shrinks our capacity for coping. So when we have a lot going on, we need to take a step back and begin to think about, why am I here? What are the things that are causing me problems right now? What are the things in my life I can back away from or I can lean into? What are the things I can do to help expand my window? Maybe I need to just hold still a little bit, go for more walks. Maybe I need to back off some of my processed food or back off my sleep that is really not good. Maybe I need to look at how much screen time I have before bed, and I need to work on my sleep. Remember, sleep is foundational. If we don't have a good sleep pattern, it's very difficult for us to have a good widening window of tolerance. The better that all of our healthy body routine is, the better our window of tolerance will be. Another thing that can be very helpful is working with a mental health provider when you're having difficulty with trauma and stress and you're feeling this window narrow. A mental health provider can help work with you side by side and walk with you through a stressful time of grief or loss or heightened stress, any of those things. Maybe you need a mental health provider to help you through some traumatic issues from your childhood or your past, or even in a current time. It's crucial that we consider all of these things with our window of tolerance. Just like good aviation will always have good stress engineers that are specifically tasked with keeping that airplane in good working condition by understanding the materials that need to be used and by understanding how long that material can be used so that it doesn't get overstressed. We're the same way. We need to make sure that we are not overstressing, that we're using all of our tools to keep ourselves in a good mental health space with our window of tolerance. It is great to be with you, and I hope you can consider your window of tolerance as we lean into wellness to build a better life.